Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. The Champions League is back, folks. We've got two more midweek games of tons of action coming at you. So we got we got four games we're going to talk to you about today. Game of the week is probably Inter Arsenal. We've got Spurs Dortmund, a lot going on in the background there. We're going to go to Qarabag and Frankfurt, a little tricky, but I think I see some crazy value there. And we'll close with Marseille as they take on Liverpool. Nick, you're back on the show. I still have no idea who's going to win this whole competition. I lean Barcelona, but there's a lot of time left. I'm not ready to put that future in. Anybody you're liking so far?
No, you know what? It's a general rule, unless you have really, really, really good feeling. I tend to wait till the knockouts to put futures in. So, I think there's enough value there to get something across.
I will say we're not talking about Real Madrid, Bayern, or Manchester City this week. This does feel like a week that all three of those, except for maybe except for maybe Real Madrid. Manchester City is playing Bodo. Real Madrid are playing Monaco. Bayern are playing somebody that they're going to smash. This does feel like the week that Kane, Mbappe, Haaland do step head. So if you want to like put in that crazy, if you got like a $5 free bet and you want to like take a stab at all of them to get a brace or all of them to get a hat trick, like this could be the week where
Yeah.
they do score some goals. I could see Monaco being very tricky for Real Madrid.
I don't
Um,
think they've been that good in Spain, quite honestly, but they
no,
need Spain, excuse me, in France. They
yeah,
need the points, but it's all the three teams you mentioned can also pretty much lock up their bye. So keep that in
correct.
mind.
Correct. So I do think this is a game that all three of them go for it. But we're going to start with Inter. They're taking on Arsenal. Arsenal current sitting top of the table. Inter were flying in the Champions League until they started playing teams that actually play professional football. Um, I got to go Arsenal draw no bet here at minus 116. To me, this is like the easiest free swing here. Inter's record in big games this season is 0-1 and 5. They drew Napoli the last time they played, but they lost to Napoli, lost to Juve, lost to Milan, lost to Atletico and Liverpool in this competition. I have serious questions about Inter, and maybe this is the game that they prove me wrong because I also don't think that Arsenal are really as good as their record says that they are. I think they've been a little lucky this year and kind of been lucky to play teams at the right time. I also don't mind first half no goals at plus 200. I think this one could be
I
very
like that.
cagey in the first half, and that's a huge number. So I'm going to take that. It's only hitting like 3 of 5 for both clubs. It's not exactly like a big one, but I did not look it up in Inter's big games this season. It did happen in their most recent home game against Napoli. Can you talk me into Inter at all? I think this is just play Arsenal and be done with it.
No, and you know what? I'm doing something I never do, but I'm right along the lines with what you said about that first half. I like under 2.5 at minus 115. I never ever like to bet unders. I certainly don't like to give them out. That's not fun to watch or root for.
No.
But you kind of mentioned it, in Inter, I think need to almost play for the draw in this one. I mean, I don't know, like Arsenal, the result doesn't matter, right? They've qualified with a bye already. But they've only given up one goal in the Champions League. Inter's only given up 4 goals in the Champions League. I think they only did that over 2 games. So not a lot of goals conceded between the two. This screams 1-0, 1-1. I really don't see fireworks in this one.
Yeah, I honestly, for a game of, game of the week, I think this is going to be maybe one of the most boring games on the slate for the Champions League this week, which is unfortunate because it's too huge. When the schedule came out, they would have said, oh, this is a big one, whatever. Tottenham are going to take on Dortmund, hipster derby, two teams that everybody loves to watch, never get it done. Thomas Frank's in trouble, but Tottenham's home form is atrocious. Like one of the worst home forms in all of Europe. Dortmund are getting something here. I like money line at plus 155. I will settle for team total over 1.5 at plus 126. This Tottenham team, there's good pieces on this team. And it's not even like a team that I'm saying like, oh, there's one individual that's carrying the team. I don't see them playing as a cohesive unit at the current moment. I think vibes are bad, and Dortmund are free flowing and scoring goals coming off the Bundesliga break. I think they scored 3 goals in their 2 games in the Bundesliga so
Yep.
far.
Yep.
Give me Dortmund. Either you want to play a money line plus 155. I think you'll get drawn a bet at a good, like right around minus 120 number. Team total at plus 126 is great for me. Give me Dortmund. in London, so
Yeah,
I'm not worried
listen,
about
I
it.
think Tottenham are good enough to give up 2 goals and score one. So I like an over 2.5, minus 130, surprisingly playable. I mean, I know that's tough for some people, but I kind of live in that range. You mentioned it, right? Dortmund have 19 goals in 6 games in the Champions League. They've conceded 13 in 6 games. So I think Tottenham are more than good enough to get on the score sheet. Dortmund's been flying, like you said. This feels like one that could hit by half.
Yeah, I fully agree. I wouldn't mind if both teams scoring over 2.5 there either. And you know what? If Sergio Rossi, if Rossi's like plus 150 anytime goal scorer, you put it on the sheet because he's their penalty taker. So yeah, I think that's Tuesday for us. Moving to Wednesday, we will talk about another Bundesliga team. Qarabag are taking on Frankfurt. Not exactly the most appealing team to talk about in Qarabag versus Frankfurt. But Frankfurt, man, they've been struggling. They've been giving up a ton of goals. They were giving up a ton of goals before the Bundesliga took the Christmas break. They're still giving up a ton of goals. Now you've got to travel to Qarabag, which I think is in Azerbaijan. It's like the second furthest flight in the Champions League this season. It's like a full 8+ hours for these guys. And yeah, I know they're professional athletes, but they played on the weekend and they're playing on Wednesday, mid-afternoon. Qarabag team total over 1.5 at plus 122. I love playing that basically, unless Qarabag's playing like a Real Madrid or the most
Mhm.
informed Premier League team. I think Qarabag did score two against Chelsea earlier this season. So, and Toronto bet Qarabag's plus 136. Money line's plus 200. I'll roll the dice with Toronto bet. Uh, Frankfurt are struggling on multiple fronts right now. Qarabag had some early success in the Champions League and getting a point here in any capacity could see them making into the knockouts, which if that happens, that's a ton of money for, a club that could really use it. And I know Qarabag are playing Liverpool at Anfield next week. So
Need it
based on
here.
what happens, right, based on what happens in Marseille, Liverpool, which we'll talk about next, I think this is a really important, opportunity.
No, you mentioned it. Everything you said is correct, and we have been talking on this podcast. This is one of the most underrated teams in the Champions League because nobody's ever heard of them, right? It is a insanely difficult place to go and travel. Early on, those first, I would say, at least 4 of the 6 games they've played, we've been able to get a lot of value on them. They always cover a spread, right? A goal line spread, plus 1.5, plus 2.5, always without fail. I think the books have caught on to that and they've recognized that, hey, this is a tough place to go. Um, I like first half draw no bet plus 100 for Qarabag.
I
Even
love
money.
that.
Sorry, I'm reading it. Even
Yeah.
money is plus
Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
Because like you said, a point in this game really does go a long way. And, look, Frankfurt needs it too, right? So proceed with caution. I do like that protection, but if Qarabag gets something out of this game, man, we're chilling.
Yeah, another game that I think you'd probably play both teams to score. Maybe like a little over 2.5 if it's playable, depending on where you're getting your action. Marseille will take on Liverpool in France. Marseille flying again, scored a ton of goals over the weekend, scored a ton of goals in the French Cup. They're one of those teams that I do keep an eye on because it's like you just throw Marseille over 2.5 on every card over the weekend and it just somehow it hits. Um, I like the first half over 1.5. I had a full on like dyslexia moment when I wrote down my odds because for a second there I was like, wait, that was plus 192. It is not. It was plus 129, but it has gone up to plus 135. I like first half over 1.5, which isn't something that I often play with Liverpool, but Marseille start games fast. And they have a dangerous front line between Greenwood, between Aubameyang, their left wing options are whether it's like a Mauri, Pajau, like all of them are more than capable of scoring goals. Liverpool's defense has looked better, but I would not say has been good. Um, I see a lot of goals in this game. I will say I'm playing Florian Wirtz here, score or assist at plus 130. I think that's the first time on this show that I actually feel confident of this hitting. Not I've said when he was due, but he's has 6 goal or assists. He's 6 GA in his last 7 games. Now, 2 of those did come off the bench against Barnsley, but definitely feeling himself. Nick and I saw him score a very nice goal this weekend. We were out together watching some action. Um, Disappointing game. I mean, he probably could have had two, maybe honestly a third in that game. Had multiple, big moments saved by the keeper. Mason Greenwood score or assist is also plus 115, and that feels like again another free roll of dice. He's been on great form for Marseille.
Yeah, listen, you hit the nail on the head also when you said Liverpool's defense has been okay. That's just where they at. Marseille team total over 1.5 is plus 145. I just think that's way too much money, way too good of odds for a team that is scoring at will against a Liverpool team that just really doesn't look that good. And I think 3 points, probably 1 point in this game does it for Marseille to qualify them for the next round. So I think they get two. It looks like
Yeah.
this is probably an over game too, but
Oh,
just
big
for what
time.
it's worth.
Big time. I'm curious if Mohamed Salah is involved in this game because he would have been back in Liverpool for coming off AFCON after Egypt were lost the third place game on Saturday. This game will be Wednesday, so curious if he gets included. I mean, he should be in this on the plane. They could use every attacking option they can get right now. I have a Tuesday. Both teams to score parlay. It's two legs. Real Madrid, Monaco. I know Madrid kept a clean sheet over the weekend against Levante, but Monaco are a team that have enough attacking talent to score against Real Madrid. And again, I don't trust this Real Madrid backline. Olympiacos and Leverkusen. Games being played in Germany, in Greece, Germany. Games being played in Greece. Leverkusen are a team that again, tons of goals both ends of the pitch. That's plus 171. If you want to stick another leg on there, if you want to stick Spurs Dortmund on there, I think you can. That'll definitely get you up to close to plus 250, if not plus 300. But that'll be it from us. We'll be back for the weekend. I have no idea what's happening this weekend. Like it could be an FA Cup weekend. I No, it's not. The FA Cup weekend is Valentine's Day. Everyone is up in arms. At Liverpool are playing at 8 p.m. kickoff against Brighton on Valentine's Day, and they're like, "How are the Brighton fans going to get home?" So yeah, that's what I got. All right, we'll be back this weekend with more picks from around the Premier League and around Europe. Have a great one. Good luck. Good
Good luck.
gambling. See you next week.